One night, my father and I looked up at the moon. "What do you think we'd find there?" I asked him. He looked at me for a moment, and then he smiled. "Well, son, what do you think?" "Maybe there would be lions or tigers," I said thoughtfully as they danced in my head. "I imagine," he said, "that anything is possible on the moon. It's a place where anything can happen. Can we go there?" I asked hopefully. "Sure," he replied. "But first we will need to build a spaceship." We worked together to gather all of the materials we needed and then set to work building the ship. As we worked, we talked about all of the different things we might see on the moon and what we would do when we got there. It looked really weird with all the pieces of the spaceship spread across the grass in the backyard. But, after many hours of work, our ship was finally finished. We climbed inside and prepared for takeoff. Sitting inside the cockpit, I felt really small. There were controls everywhere. My dad told me that the controls would help me fly the ship, but I wasn't sure how to use them all. I felt a nervous excitement, but I felt safe because I was wearing my astronaut helmet and Dad said everything was going to be okay. My dad counted down. 3, 2, 1. And then we blasted off into the sky. I had no idea what to expect, and I was worried that something would go wrong. But as soon as the engine started up, I was hooked. The feeling of the ship vibrating underneath me, the way the stars streaked by as we picked up speed, it was all amazing. The journey was long, but I didn't mind. There were so many things to look at in space. As we got closer to the moon, it got bigger and bigger. And then we were there. The door to the spaceship opened and there was a loud whooshing noise. We stepped out to explore. The first thing I noticed was that the moon was not flat. It had a beautiful landscape with mountains, valleys, and craters. The next thing I noticed were the creatures. The moon is a place where you can find all sorts of creatures. Some of the creatures, like the rabbits and rats, were not scary. But they were strange to look at with their bright pink colors, and their weird shapes. We also found more unusual creatures like aliens and monsters. They watched us from the darkness of the moon. I tried to wave at them, but I think they were scared of me because this made them move away. I didn't follow them because I didn't want to get lost. And, if you're brave enough to venture out at night, you might even see a werewolf or two. But the werewolves on the moon are not like the ones from the stories my parents read me. Their legs and arms twisted at weird angles, and they seemed to float above the surface of the moon. We came upon a cave, and I looked inside and saw a werewolf. He was very large and looked really scary. My father told me to keep my distance, but I could see his face. I ran back and hid behind my father's legs until the werewolf went back into his cave. The surface on the moon is strange. It's not like walking on solid earth. Be careful where you step. You never know what might be lurking beneath your feet. Even the rocks on the moon look like they have tentacles, and their yellow eyes watch you as you walk by. After spending some time exploring, we decided it was time to head back home. We climbed back into our ship and took off into the sky. Through the window, I saw another spaceship approaching the moon. Probably another boy and his father on an adventure like ours. As I looked back at the moon, getting smaller and smaller, I was sad because our adventure was coming to an end. My father noticed and tried to cheer me up. "Now that we have our spaceship, where will we go next?" he asked me. My face lit up. "How about Mars?" "I like the sound of that," my father said, giving me a hug. For a long time, we just watched space passing us by. As we looked out the window toward Earth way below, I knew that we would never forget our adventure. Nor would we forget the bond we had formed while exploring the moon together. And there was always Mars, next.